Have you ever wondered how those big software decisions really get made? You know, the ones that shape a whole product. Well, it's not always about the coolest features. A lot of the time, it comes down to the timing of money. Today, we're going to unpack a powerful tool called cash flow analysis that honestly could change how you look at every single project you work on. And what we're about to cover isn't just theory. We're actually pulling back the curtain on a university-level course. This is the good stuff, distilled directly from Week 7 of Dr. Mohammed M. Inua's YMT 220 Economy course. And we're turning it into a practical tool that you can start using, well, today.
All right, so let's get right to the heart of it. There's this big money question that every single software project has to deal with, and it all boils down to one simple but absolutely critical concept: timing.
This quote just nails it, doesn't it? Think about it. You spend money today on developers, on tools, on servers, but the value, the actual return, that doesn't show up until much, much later. And it's this gap, this delay between spending and earning that can make or break a project.
And you might be thinking, okay, but I'm not an accountant. It doesn't matter. Understanding this cash flow is crucial for everyone. It helps you answer the big questions like, should we even build this thing in the first place? How much money do we need for the next 6 months? When can we realistically plan that big version 2 launch? It puts a spotlight on the very real danger of running out of cash before your awesome project ever gets a chance to succeed.
Okay, so to really get a grip on this, we've got to break it down. And the good news is it's actually super simple. All we're doing is tracking the money as it moves in 2 basic directions: out and in. First up, we've got cash outflows. This is literally all the money flying out the door. We're talking developer salaries, those subscriptions for tools like Figma or Jira, the AWS hosting bills, the cost of training. You get the idea. It's everything you have to pay for just to get the project off the ground and keep it running. And then, on the flip side, you've got the cash inflows. This is the good part. It's the money coming back to you. For a product, that's that sweet, sweet subscription revenue. Or maybe it's licensing fees. And hey, if you're building a tool for your own company, the inflow is the money you're saving by making things more efficient. Now here's where it gets really interesting. These flows, the ins and the outs, they aren't just a single event. They actually tell a story, a financial story that plays out over the entire life of a project. Just look at this typical timeline. In year 0, before you've even launched, there's this huge outflow of cash. You're just spending, spending, spending. Then, for the first year or 2, you launch, revenue starts to trickle in, but your costs are still super high. It's only after a few years that, hopefully, the project matures and those inflows start to consistently beat the outflows.
You know, this pattern is so universal, so common in the world of economics, that there's a standard, simple way to draw it out so we can actually see what's going on.
And here it is, the humble cash flow diagram. It looks simple, but it is so powerful. Time goes from left to right. Every time you spend money, you draw an arrow pointing down. That's an outflow. Every time you make money, you draw an arrow pointing up. That's an inflow. This simple picture is the foundation for making smart financial choices. Okay, so being able to map out one project is great. That's level 1. But the real magic, skill that truly separates the pros, is using this tool to compare different choices. And that brings us to what I think is the most important concept we're going to talk about today. It's an idea called incremental analysis. And it's basically a mental shortcut for cutting through all the noise. Just take a second to read this quote. It's so simple, but so profound. When you're trying to decide between 2 options, you should completely ignore everything that's the same about them. The only thing that matters for your decision are the ways the cash flows are different.
This is the perfect way to solve that classic software dilemma, the build versus buy decision, right? Do we build our own custom solution from scratch? That means a massive upfront cost, but we get total control. Or do we just buy a subscription to a tool that already exists? The upfront cost is tiny, but now we've got this payment we have to make, month after month.
All right, enough with the theory. Let's make this totally real. We're going to take this powerful idea focusing only on the differences and apply it to a classic build versus buy problem. So picture this. Your company needs a new learning management system, an LMS. You could build it yourself. It'll cost a ton of money up front and take forever, but it'll be perfectly customized. Or you could just subscribe to one. It's way cheaper to start and you can deploy it tomorrow. But you're going to be paying that subscription fee forever. How in the world do you choose? Okay, this is where it all comes together. Now, don't get lost in the numbers. Forget the first 2 columns. The only column that matters is that third one, the difference. That's our incremental cash flow, and it tells a brand new, much simpler story. It says, in year 0, if you choose buy, you have an extra $90,000 in the bank that you wouldn't have otherwise. But from year 1 onwards, it costs you an extra $15,000 every single year. See? The decision is suddenly so much clearer. Is having that 90 grand today worth paying 15 grand a year from now on?
And that, right there, is the whole point. This analysis doesn't magically spit out the right answer. It does something way more valuable. It takes a really complex, messy decision and boils it down to one single clear, strategic question. Your job as a decision maker is to answer that question based on what your company needs most right now.
So let's wrap this up. What did we learn? First, timing is everything. Software costs money now to make money later. Second, the secret to making smart choices is to stop analyzing everything and focus only on what's different between your options. And third, when you do that, you cut through all the noise and turn a complicated mess into a clear, simple, data-driven decision.
So now that you've got this powerful new mental model, I'm going to leave you with a final thought. This isn't just for huge corporate software projects. Think about your own work, your side projects, even your daily life. What's a build versus buy decision that you see every day? And how would focusing only on the differences change the way you think about it?